Hello, my Virgo friends. This is Kristen Redman, and today we are going to be discussing the astrological influences that are going to be making up the year 2021 for you. Now, this is quite a year of progress and change. I have written down here for Virgo. There hasn't been a whole lot happening in the world of Virgo up until 2020, where some shifts and some changes really started to hit underfoot for you. And this is a year where some eclipses are happening that are really pushing to the forefront for you what it is that you need to have progress and change in the areas and the access of home and career. Major shifts that are happening for you this year. So we'll get into it in a moment. But first of all, I want to say that these are just a generic horoscope for Virgo. This is for all Virgos, but if you want to dig in deeper to what I call it the roadmap of your specific birth chart has to say and how it's being impacted by these energies of 2021, there's a link below to reach out to me to do a reading by FaceTime, Zoom, phone, and eventually sometime again soon we'll be doing in-person readings. But it's amazing what we can learn about ourselves through the study of personality that is known as astrology. So let's get to it. I tell you what, Virgo, you are an interesting, amazing sign. You are the sign of hard work and being of service to mankind. If you've come into this lifetime to be a Virgo, you will find that you are always the first one in and the last to leave, always giving, always doing, because that's part of your soul's purpose, to be of service, not to be a servant, but to give to others, because that's the greatest thing that we can do, right? You find that Virgos are the ones that are the doctors and the nurses and the therapists and the ones that want to give and work hard. That doesn't mean that you have to be one, but you have that same genuine need to help others. Virgo is a sign of analyzing. You're ruled by the planet Mercury, which is the planet of the mind. So you are the ones that can nitpick through the details to get to the very, very minute little aspects that can make anything not work correctly. If there's ever a problem in the world, give it to a Virgo and they will solve it. They certainly will. And so this year, your planet Mercury is going to be retrograding in the air signs, which have to deal with thought and communication. When it retrogrades, it means looking to the past. And so for you, you're going to be looking at your communication style and how that has worked for you or worked against you. One of the things with being Virgo is that you're such an amazing analyzer, but of all things, you analyze yourself far too much. Far, far, far too much. And I think in 2021, this is going to be a year where you recognize that and how it makes a genuine impact on your health, okay? Especially the stomach and the digestive system, because that's where Virgo rules. That's where we assimilate the information that we take in. We digest it, so to speak, through our system. But when you're constantly thinking, when you're constantly analyzing, it gets stuck in that digestive system and it can manifest into ulcers or other types of stomach issues. And this may be a year where you start to recognize the correlation between the two. But that planet Mercury of yours is going to be assessing that at various times. Let me tell you these Mercury retrogrades, because these are vital periods for you this year. January 30th to February 20th. May 29th to June 22nd. And then for the last one, it will be September 26th to October 18th. These are vital times for you, my Virgo friends. These are going to be happening in the financial sectors of your house. So where you're going to be doing the most reassessment and objective looking is in your houses of finance. Your money is going to be on your mind more than ever this year, and you're going to be motivated to make more money. Luckily, Mars is going to be moving through the financial sectors as well for you this year, where it hasn't been for 2 years, giving you the confidence and the courage to say, okay, wait a second, I do need to make more money, boss. Now you're going to have the confidence to come in and be like, look at all the work I do. Look at what I did for this project. Look at what I did for this client. Look at what I did. Look at all the extra I took on in 2020. And you will be able to go in there and confidently negotiate salary increases. So that's pretty awesome, right? Right there. Remember that you are worth more. That was the number one thing that I wrote as I was looking at all of these financial things. This is making an impact on that second house of yours of finances, but it's also the house of self-worth. And last year, very much so, brought to the focus for you what is happening in your life that does not necessarily add up and be congruent with who you are and what you deserve. You realized how you were selling yourself short, whether it was in a job, a relationship, friendship, whatever. You recognize that in 2020, and in 2021, this is where we make the changes. These Mercury retrograde periods are going to make it extremely known to you. And that is where you're going to be doing the thought process. How do I tangibly move forward and make it different in these areas so that I recognize my self-worth? The key to that, my friend, is reassessing your main values. What is it now? Not 5 years ago, not what you want to be in the future, but what do you value most? And how do you live to make sure that you are an example of that now? So let's say honesty is the most important to you. What is it that you do actively now to make sure that you are living authentically to who you are, honestly verbalizing what it is you want, honestly getting the responses from others and actively getting that? What is it that happens to make that honesty a true value and something that you live by? Reassessing those is going to be major this year for you, because that is going to help you establish your worth and fight hard to maintain it throughout the remainder of this year and then moving forward. What happens in the world of astrology is every year we have these eclipses that happen between the sun and the moon. Eclipses are huge to astrologers because that's where we look in someone's chart to see where are the new beginnings going to be happening for this client. Now, in general, for Virgo, where these eclipses are going to be happening are at the axis of the fourth house, which is home and family down here, and childhood roots is in that area too. Home, family, mom, childhood roots. And then back up here at the 10th house is career and your public persona and the way that, the world sees you and your reputation. But a lot of it comes from life purpose, career in that 10th house. They are subject to some massive renewal this year because that's where the eclipses are going to be happening. They bring the new beginnings. The home work balance will come into play a lot because, as I said, first and foremost, you're the hardest working of all the signs, which means that you may be the overworker. Why, I can't think of the term, but you know what I mean. Where you're constantly at work and you're not at home. That is something that could really come into focus this year and how that needs to shift and change to bring greater happiness for you. But a lot of where the juice of the new beginnings happens for you this year, not only in recognizing your self-worth and your values, but it's also about releasing the childhood baggage that surrounds your thoughts and your beliefs around what the core family unit looks like, what home looks like, what nurturing and motherhood looks like. But also work on the opposite spectrum. You are going to be reassessing a lot of your thoughts and beliefs and pre-programmed cycles that you go into based off of what you observed in childhood. They will come to the forefront. You will recognize and realize if they work and if they no longer work and what needs to change to make that happen. Okay? Fresh start comes for you December 4th in that eclipse, when that new moon and solar eclipse happens, okay? The recognition and the realization and the seeds of planning what you need to change, the actual movement in those areas you'll see happen in December 4th. In terms of career, there is also going to be your ruling planet Mercury that aligns with the North Node May 4th to May 29th. So not only are we going to be in this eclipse cycle for new beginning for career, it's also going to be aligned with this point in the cosmos there that's known as the North Node, which represents our soul's purpose for being here. Obviously, there's a major shift this year, which helps you to realize part of what your true purpose is this year, this lifetime, as opposed to just what you're here to do for work. Do not be surprised if you feel extremely pushed in the springtime to go in a completely different direction, okay? May surprise others because you're Virgo and everybody's used to you being that standard go-to. It may surprise you when an opportunity pops up in that time frame that catches your fancy a little bit more and lights the fire inside of you. Listen to that, because these eclipses are trying to bring something that works better with who you are now and not necessarily rooted in those beliefs of what you thought things were supposed to be and what you observed in childhood. Major beginnings, major beginnings there. Let's move on to love and relationships for our Virgo friends. Let's, okay, because there ain't been no great energy happening in there up until last year for like a decade. What's going to be happening in 2022 is that Jupiter is going to be coming through, the planet of luck and opportunity is going to be moving into that house of relationship, marriage, partnerships. That can also fall into business partnerships as well too. It's going to briefly go into Pisces this year in 2021 between May 14th and July 28th. You're going to get a preview of what 2022 has in store for you in terms of marriage and relationships. One of the best cycles in a decade for that. So whether you are partnered, let's say you're in a relationship, this is going to bring through some new energy and new opportunities for your relationship to grow and go beyond those limitations that have been there that have kept you from being happy in that area. If you're looking for someone new, this is going to be a great time because Jupiter brings new opportunities in for you in terms of those areas as well too. So keep an eye out for that and new ways to approach relationships as well too. Now, another thing too is that we have where Jupiter is now though this year, for a majority of this year, Jupiter, the planet of luck, is going to be partnering in a 30-year cycle with Saturn, the planet of hard work and determination and the results that pay off as a result. Saturn and Jupiter are going to be working in that 6th house of yours. You rule the 6th house in astrology. So this is going to be a pretty major year, okay, for you in terms of focusing on your daily regimen. The more that a Virgo can focus on doing the same types of things every day, you are a creature of habit. So if you can stay in some sort of cycle, that will help you majorly, okay? Health, focusing on your health. If you take the opportunities to focus on your health and well-being this year, Saturn is going to be behind it to give it legs and a good foundation to move forward to bring you amazing results for the next 30 years off of the steps that you take forward in 2021. Now let's focus on specific birthdays. As I mentioned before, how this impacts your specific chart, you would need to have a reading done. But let's look at certain birthdays to end this horoscope here. If your birthday falls between August 31st and August 31st and September 8th, you have Uranus pulling on that sun of yours this year. Uranus is the planet of liberation and freedom. You are going to be feeling a push for the real you to emerge, okay? Listen to the callings of that and be very hyper vigilant when those feelings surface this year, because it could be pushing you to let go of something that needs a little bit more hard work put into it. But if it's something that you've been working on over the past 2 years, as these eclipse cycles have been working with you, and you've attempted change but no change has happened, follow the advice of Uranus to free and liberate yourself in these areas. If your birthday falls between September 12th and September 17th, so just this little tiny window, Neptune is going to be opposing your sun out there. This is a year where it's calling you to surrender and release. It's calling you to call on your spiritual self and to listen with your heart as opposed to your head. You're ruled by Mercury, so you're always in your logical mind and head and not necessarily going, ooh, I feel I should do this, or my intuition tells me. Neptune is going to have it flipped on its head this year. And you are going to get more insight by following your intuition and what your heart is telling you, as opposed to your logic and your conscious mind in your head. Go figure. Go figure, right? But that's where the magic happens. Maybe following your spiritual self is difficult, but I tell you what, you can access it through your creativity. If you're doing something with music or art, making food, working on a car, doing something where you're using your creative mind and seeing something, that's how God can access your spirit in new ways. All right, so follow that. Finding balance between the heart and the head can definitely lead to discoveries in what your true calling is. All right, because we know that's what the eclipses are trying to bring out anyway this year for you. If your birthday falls between September 18th and September 20th, Pluto is going to be some massive transformation for you this year. This could be a year where you do a lot of deep exploration through introspection, all right? Purging and purifying is the name of the game. Releasing what no longer works for you and cutting things off so that new beginnings can come in with these cycles. Releasing the past and gaining a deeper trust in yourself are going to be the themes of 2021 if your birthday falls in that few days of September 18th to September 20th. My Virgo friends, I wish you a year of abundance and growth and understanding of who it is you truly are and what it is your spirit and your spiritual network has to tell you. Listen to your dreams, listen to your heart, and above all, follow what the universe is showing you in terms of new beginnings. I wish you a wonderful and prosperous 2021. Thank you for watching. Ooh, there.